Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands. The muscles of his brawny arms, imagine something more than this. The muscles of his brawny arms are as strong as iron bands. His hair is crisp and black and long. Imagine crisp, black, long hair. This is a poem called The Village Blacksmith by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. It's the first real poem that I ever memorized. In fact, I was in junior high school when I entered into a competition reciting poetry at our county fair. And I thought, I can win. I know how to memorize things. I'm good at school. I'll memorize the words. And I stood up there like this. Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stood. I didn't realize what most of you know by being a part of Toastmasters or being here, that you don't win competitions just by memorizing something. You have to understand there's vocal variety. You have to use expressions. You have to use gestures. And so after I gave my poem in that recitation, and I saw what the other contestants did, my heart was filled with anguish. It was only after the competition and I heard the others that I understood I was lacking a lot. So there was two things I learned that day. One was I didn't really know how to recite poetry well. The second thing that I didn't know that day was that one day I would live in the same neighborhood where Henry Wadsworth Longfellow had lived. For several years, our family lived across the street from Harvard University. Now, Longfellow was a professor at Harvard College back then. And so I would push our young son, Joshua, when he was a baby, now he's big and tall and a freshman in college himself, but I would push him in a jogging stroller. And we'd go through Harvard Yard and see the brick buildings and see the tall, mighty trees. And I remember one day I went past this beautiful yellow mansion, and I thought, what is that? And it was the Longfellow House. Today it's a museum. And so I went in and I learned more about this individual and more about this poem. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. Many of you in this room may not know the name Paul Revere, but every school child in America over the age of 10 knows the name Paul Revere. And they also know his famous phrase as he shouted, "The British are coming! The British are coming!" For on April 18th, 1775, he took a ride to warn the American colonists that the British Army was marching on Lexington and then on Concord. And so he is famous because Longfellow wrote a poem about it. Until that point, not many people knew of Paul Revere. And it wasn't until I lived in Boston that I understood there was two other gentlemen that also wrote to warn that the British are coming, the British are coming. It was William Dawes and Dr. Prescott. However, 99% of Americans have never heard their names, let alone known that they are the ones that completed the ride and warned most of the people. Paul Revere was captured and briefly arrested by the British soldiers. So why do we in America know about Paul Revere, but not William Dawes or Dr. Prescott? Let me put the question another way. Many people would say that actions are more important than words. Right? Many people would say that. But let me put a different question to you. Which wing on an airplane is more important? The right wing or the left wing? I think we all know that both are important. If you would hop in an airplane to fly somewhere that only had one wing, you're a little bit crazy. And if you do that, you will experience anguish of the deepest kind. So likewise, both words and actions are important. I think for many people, their role models are people like maybe Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa. For me, one of my role models is Jesus. But how would I ever know about his wonderful deeds, his actions, or his wonderful words, the things that he said, the miracles he performed, if someone hadn't put things to words, either spoken or written. And likewise, as I look around this room tonight, I have a dream. I have a dream that 100 years from now, that we're going to know about Aliyah Shekhinah, Ilyas Batira, Yernur. Why? Because someone like Aisha or Gahar is going to write about them, speak about them, or maybe vice versa. We're going to know about Gahar because Dalet's going to write some amazing poetry about her. Or maybe he's going to give a speech that will go on YouTube and become viral and all the world will see it. Again, we lived near Harvard College. I've met many Harvard students. The church we attended had several Harvard professors. And I grew up in a small town of 800 people in Montana. It's kind of like growing up in, Kagan or something like that, out in eastern Kazakhstan. And then you find yourself in a place like this. And Harvard students are amazing people. They've got great intellects. They have the ability to rally others for a cause. They have passion for things that they believe in. They're competent. They have abilities that are amazing. And yet, knowing some of those people who have gone on to do great things, I don't stand in awe of them like I did when I was much younger. When I grew up in Montana, no one thought you could go to Harvard. It was too high of a dream, too amazing, or could be like them. But as I got to know them, they're normal people. They put their pants on one leg at a time. Maybe they put their shirts on 2 arms at a time. I don't know. But as I look around this room, as I've got to know people in our club, I see that many of you have the same competencies, the same intellects as people who are at a place like Harvard. Kazakhstan has amazing people. People with passion, people with intellect, people with artistic ability, people with great creativity. And I have this dream that someday people in America are going to be giving a speech about Dalet or Mustafa or Begzad, and they're going to be talking about, maybe you've never heard of Tom Bartkoske or Greg Heaver, but they've heard of these Kazakh people because of the steps you're going to take, the actions that you will do. But it's not just taking actions. Again, I think of the poem, The Village Blacksmith. Another stanza says, toiling, rejoicing, sorrowing. Onward through life he goes. Each morning sees some task begin. Each evening sees it close. Something attempted, something done, has earned a night's repose. Life is filled with challenges. There's things that we can achieve, things that we can do. I believe that God has created each one of us to be special, to be unique. There's only one you. There will never be another. If you don't do what you were created to do, no one else will do it. And my dream is that, again, that by being involved in Toastmasters, you're going to learn to articulate, you're going to learn to express what people in this room or others in Kazakhstan have done. You'll be able to put it in verse, you'll be able to put it on YouTube, you'll be able to express it well, that people will take note and remember what those in this room will do someday. And so remember, elections are coming up soon. Don't be afraid. Step up, run for an office, get involved. Come up here, maybe your first step, give your icebreaker speech. Be an evaluator, be a grammarian. Don't be in anguish about what might be. Rather, rejoice in what could be.